Okay, sit comfortably in a chair is best, with your arms and legs straight and not crossed. And let's start by taking a breath. Just breathe slowly in your nose and slowly out. And now be aware that you have a body, that you are inside a body. And now let the energy in your body, the emotions, drop low. Let them drop into your legs. And imagine at the bottoms of your feet that there's a window at the bottom of each foot that's circular and opens like a iris of an eye. Let these open all the way to the size of your foot or larger. And allow from the bottom of each of your feet a root or cable to drop into the ground. Down, 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 hundreds of miles down through the building beneath you, the layers of granite and sand and water, down through all the layers of the earth, through the tectonic plates to the center of the earth. And then allow another root to drop from the center of your body, down through all the same layers of earth, down through the magma, the water, down to the center of the earth, and let it attach there, whatever that means. Now be aware of your pineal gland, which is about a ½ inch back from the center of your head. And as best you can, just put your awareness there for a moment. And you don't have to get it right or do it perfect. Just to set your intention to have your awareness there. And then allow another root to drop from your pineal gland down into the center of the earth. Let it go down through the center of the main root. And now notice that the gravity energy from the earth is entering the bottoms of your feet. And allow that energy to pool in your feet. Allow it to really fill them up. You can even fill them up larger than your feet, the size of clown shoes. And let that gravity pool there for a moment. Now allow that energy to enter the bottom part of your leg, your calf area, and let it really fill that area. And now notice that energy moving up your leg and filling the upper part of your leg. Now be aware how that healing earth energy is filling up your hip area, and really let it pool and fill that area. Now notice as that healing gravity energy pours out the front of your body, back down into the earth to that same spot, like a waterfall, taking with it any out of balance energy or emotion, so the earth can recycle it for you. Now let's run through that cycle a couple more times, a little more quickly. Now be aware as that gravitational energy pools in your feet, and notice as it fills the bottom part of your leg, and allow that gravity energy to fill the upper part of your leg. And notice as that healing earth energy fills your hip area. Let it really fill that area. You can even slosh it around side to side, front to back. And then notice as that energy pours out the front of your body back down into the earth like a waterfall, taking with it any out of balance energy or emotion you no longer need, so the earth can recycle it for you. Let's run that cycle one more time. Notice as that healing earth energy fills up your feet. And then notice as it fills your legs. First the calves, and then the upper part of your leg. And then be aware as that healing earth energy fills your hip area. Let it really fill that area. And then allow that healing earth energy to pour out the front of your body like a waterfall back down into the earth, taking with it any out of balance energy or emotion you no longer need, so the earth can recycle it for you. Now be aware of the weight of your body, the weight of your feet on the floor, your hips on the chair beneath you, the weight of your torso, your arms, your neck and head. And now think of a topic. Any topic that is of something you'd like to change in your life. It could be about health and wellness, finances, relationships, anything at all. And when you think about that topic, notice what arises, what comes up. And whatever emotions, thoughts, sensations, feelings, whatever comes up, just allow it to be there as best you can. And now see if you can let go of some of that. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could be 10%, 1%, 0.1%. Just see if you can let go of some of it. Now think of that same topic again, or another topic if you wish. And whatever comes up, whatever emotions, sensations, thoughts, images, just allow them to be there as best you can. Now see if you can let some of that go. Doesn't have to be a lot. Just see if you can let some of that go. Now think of that same topic again. And whatever arises, whatever emotions, sensations, thoughts, just allow them to be there as best you can. Now see if you can let go of some of that. Now think of that same topic again, and whatever arises, whatever emotions, thoughts, sensations, images, just allow them to be there as best you can. Now see if you can let go of some of that. 10%, 1%. Now think of that same topic again. And whatever comes up, whatever emotions, sensations, thoughts, feelings, just allow them to be there as best you can. Now see if you can let go of some of that. Just let it go. Let it go on its way. Now see if you can notice around this same topic if there's any tightness or constriction around it. And if there is, just be aware of that tightness, that sense of constriction around this topic. Just allow it to be there as best you can. Now notice any sense of openness, sense of expansion and lightness around this topic. Now at first there might not be a lot, but whatever small bit there is, just allow yourself to be aware of that. And if you can't find it, then just imagine that you're aware of it. Now become aware of any tightness or constriction around this. Just let it be there. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this topic. Just be aware of it, even if it's small. Now allow yourself to be aware of any tightness or constriction around this. Now be aware of any openness, lightness, expansiveness around this. Now be aware of any tightness or constriction around this. Now be aware of any openness or expansiveness around this. Now be aware of any tightness or constriction around this issue. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Now be aware of any tightness or contraction around this. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Now be aware of any tightness or contraction around this. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Now be aware of any tightness or contraction around this. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Now be aware of any tightness or contraction around this. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Now be aware of any tightness or contraction around this topic. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Now be aware of any tightness, constriction, any contraction around this. Now be aware of any openness, any expansiveness, any lightness around this. Now be aware of any tightness or contraction around this. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Now be aware of any tightness or contraction around this. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Now be aware of any tightness or contraction around this. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Now be aware of any tightness or contraction around this. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Now be aware of any tightness or contraction around this. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Now be aware of any tightness or contraction around this. Now be aware of any openness or expansion around this. Okay.